Hey everyone, Charlie here. I hope you're all doing well. So recently I watched a Q&A video from Charlie in Japan, and it inspired me because I haven't done one in a while. So I went over to Twitter and the Facebook page and asked you guys to send me any questions you might have using the wonderfully amazing sorry, I just had a mini stroke there on camera. The wonderfully amazing hashtag HeyChuckles, because why the hell not? So without further ado, let's jump into it. Right, so first let's go to Facebook. The first question, which I'm going to give an equally serious answer for how serious the question is. How many of your students' moms got the hots for you? I don't know. I have never attempted to investigate this for obvious reasons. So let's just leave it at that. From Dan Michael Hinson on Facebook. Hashtag HeyChuckles, you take such great walks. Do you feel it gives you clarity or makes you get into your headspace too much? I don't know. It's not a bad thing to get into your headspace. Of course, if you're a worrier, I think, then maybe it could drive you a little insane. But, for example, the video last week when I sort of basically missed my bus and had to walk about 20 kilometers back to my apartment, afterwards I felt freaking amazing. Like, physically I was tired, but I don't know, I always feel really, really good afterwards. I think that's why I always need to return to hiking so often, is because if I don't get out and sort of clear my head and really get to sort of think things through, then I get really depressed, and I mean that in like the actual the medical sense of it. That's what brings back my depression, is if I feel like I haven't had time to clear out my headspace at all very much. So good question. Long story long, yeah, it gives me a lot of clarity, which is probably the reason why I love it so much. This one from Yuiri James Mulgrew. Have you been to a New Japan wrestling show or any other companies? And question number 2, seen any out of the ordinary vending machines? So the first question, I have only ever been to one pro wrestling show since I've been in Japan. Is this thing on? Yes, it is. Okay, I'm a little worried about the camera battery. It's been acting strange. I've been to one show. I don't know what the company was, but it was many years ago now, 8 years ago, when I came for my first year stay here in Japan with my host brother. And I don't know what it was, but I just remember it was all professional. It was all female wrestlers. They were all women, and it was great. I don't really like wrestling. Not to say I dislike it, but I just don't have any interest in it. But it was fun to see these women who were in amazing shape, right, and who particularly at the time, made me feel really insecure, because I was balloon Charlie at that point. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun to see people just put on this show and hit each other with chairs and fall into the audience and everything like that. It was a good time. As to the second question, seen any out of the ordinary vending machines? No. Mostly because I don't really hang around places, I don't hang around Tokyo very often. That's where I think it was Man in Japan, Jake Knowlton and Lisa sometimes were wandering around Tokyo at one point. In one of their videos, I want to say it was Jake's, and Jake, being Jake, of course, found a used panty machine or whatever. So those strange things do exist here, but I've never seen anything weird. The weirdest thing that's sold in vending machines around here is jelly. Literally you shake the can and it's just Jello in a can with some fizzy water, because I can't think of the better way to put that. But anyway, nothing strange. When I was hiking last summer, we did find, Travis and I, my friend who's coming over not from London, again here in just about a week to go hiking, at this place we stayed, there was a large bank of vending machines, and it was called Happiness Town or something like that. So I thought that was interesting, but no, it didn't sell anything out of the ordinary. Hey Chuckles, how much of yourself or individuality must you hide to gain employment? I've heard of instances where creativity can be seen as non-compliant, even in an industry that should encourage out-of-the-box thinking. This is a really good question. For me, my weirdness, my strangeness for the most part, is not visible. I don't really like the idea of getting a tattoo. I like other people's tattoos, but it's just not for me. I dress fairly normally, except when I'm out doing my superhero duties. And yeah, I think I look fairly normal when I'm not growing rat hair on my face. My creative outlets are making videos and writing, and none of those things really, people have to look for them, right? Or have to know specifically how to look for them to find them. But of course, I am a weird person. I talk really strangely. I make a lot of noises just out of the blue. Like, if you ever get to hang out with me personally, I don't know why I said get to, like it's a privilege, right? If we ever have the opportunity to meet and hang out with each other, then yeah, you'll notice that I just randomly make noises, or I do strange things, or I'm very annoying. But so those things, of course, I tone down when I go in for an interview. Like, I'm not gonna make a random noise that occurs to me when I'm in an interview with an employer. But when I got this job, actually, I felt like it was okay to be myself, because a lot of I think a lot of what makes me strange, so to speak, is what makes me a good teacher, is that I do strange things, and I randomly sing, and I make voices and things like that. And so actually when I was sort of showing this off, when I was doing like my demo lessons during training and during my interview process, I think it really worked for me. That being the case, of course, there are people who are physically, at least, so-called more strange, right? So-called strange piercings, or different hair color, or their dress is not mainstream, I guess is the best way to put it. And so in those cases, yeah, I think it's probably a bigger deal. But as for me personally, I haven't had any trouble. Next question: have you been watching this season of Shokugeki no Soma? You got me hooked when you mentioned it in a video. I'd like to know if you were suffering along with us or not as I wait for the next episode to air. I really liked the first episode of Shokugeki no Soma, which is why I filmed that peanut butter squid video, which if you haven't seen, I'm still very proud of it. It was fun to shoot. Long story short, I'm not actually watching the new season right now. I plan to. It's very sort of low on my list of things I'm working through at the moment, because Mel of Nippon Culture Quest has been recommending different things to me for a long time, and I keep not doing them in favor of other recommendations or other things I want to watch. So I feel like I should get on it. And also Wikipedia recommended me a book a while ago, which I bought, which I haven't read, and I really need to. So things like that. So yes, it's on my list. I'm really looking forward to watching it. I really hope that there's some more strange, disgusting food at least one time on the show, because I really want to make another video of my making and trying out really strange anime food, whether it's from Shokugeki no Soma or not. So if you know of anything, please be sure to let me know down in the comments below. From Oren, Dances with Cranes. Hey Chuckles, can you use chopsticks? Now this is a joke, right? Because one of the things you'll get here, along with people telling you your Japanese is amazing all the time when you say hello, is they're sort of astounded if you can use chopsticks. I haven't had this issue at all, actually, since I moved back here. But when I was in college for that study abroad program, yeah, people were like, "Oh, you can use chopsticks," and my host mom said it a lot. So yes, I can use chopsticks, of course. Hey Chuckles, this is from D Carrier. Hey Chuckles, or Carrier is the case may be. Hey Chuckles, have you ever had one of those conversations that has changed you in some way, good or bad? Absolutely. There are two that really jump to mind, both a positive and a negative, though ultimately both I think were positive, or at least transformative. The bad one was the last conversation I had with like my ex-fiance, I guess, ex-girlfriend. And at the time, of course, I was very like indignant about some of the things that she was saying, and I was like, "Oh, that's not true. But afterwards, as happens to be the case, right? Like, those kind of conversations stick with you for a very long time. And so I dissected it, and actually the points she made were valid. And so a lot of the positive changes I've made in my life, being more active, being more, how should I say, acting on my potential, right? Being more driven and going for things I want. Being a little less, being more selfish, instead of being so interested in what other people were doing all the time. Those are positive changes I've made because of that conversation. Although again, at the time, it was a very painful lesson to have to learn. But I really appreciate her for that. So, without that experience, I mean, who knows where I would be now. So, and as for a more positive conversation, I struggle to think of one particular time, but I always think back to my father. In my dad and I have have a very close relationship. We've always been pretty close, even when we don't get to talk all that often. But my teenagers particularly were sort of really, really tumultuous, I guess, as is the case for many kids. All right, so sorry, in the middle of that last question, actually the battery in that camera died. Like I said, it's been acting weird. I need to get a replacement before hiking next week. But so sorry, let's continue. Sorry about the changed aspect ratio and all that jazz. Not aspect ratio, but changed appearance of the video. Anyhow, so my dad was sort of really, really important and remains important for keeping me on my own track, because I've always had a problem of making decisions based on how my parents would feel about them, or based on how my friends would react, or basically worried about all the wrong things. Like ultimately, I'm the one who's gonna die and have to regret or be happy about the decisions I've made. So he just has always stressed in multiple conversations how important it is just to be my own person. And eventually, at some point, that started to sink in, and I ended up here. So, so it's really, really important for me. So that was an excellent question, by the way. I really, really appreciate how thoughtful that was. Next one from Raz Al Ghul. Have you been hit with loneliness since being in Japan? And how have I gone about it? Yeah, of course. And I think to some extent, I've never stopped being lonely. Now, before you hear them be like, boo-hoo, like, allow me to explain. The first 6 months in particular, 6 months to a year, was very, very tough. And I've talked about this before during many episodes of One Cuppa, I'm sure. But yeah, I wasn't making any friends at first, and the friends I was making were sort of transients, right? I would meet them at a bar, and they were just in town for a night or whatever, and we'd go out and drink, and we'd go to karaoke, and we'd have a really good time and some interesting conversation, and they would leave, and that would be it. So it took me a while to make some lasting friendships, and that was really tough. But now actually I really appreciate those kind of friendships or relationships where you realize that it's okay just to have like a fleeting friendship, to experience people for a night, get their ideas and just have fun and whatever. That sounds like an advertisement for one night stands, but that's not what I'm about. That's not what I'm saying. So and I do feel lonely, which isn't too often. It's just for things from home, people from home. My little brother especially, I say little, I should say younger, because he's 19. I really miss my younger brother. And my friends that I made in Rochester when I was working as a writer they're really, really important to me, and I don't get to talk to them very much. But now they're in all different places now. Like they're in Germany, and some of them are still in Rochester, but they're just doing their thing, which is awesome. And then I miss my very good friend Sean, who I feel like is one of those people who, no matter how long it is since I've talked to him, I could just pick up where I left off, and it doesn't matter that we haven't talked to each other in a while. So, yeah, of course, I feel lonely at times. But how I go about it is I just go about it. I let myself feel it, but I also don't. For the most part, I don't let it cripple me. If I can, I'll send an email or I'll Skype or. The most important thing for you to do in these situations is you just need to get out, and that was something that took me a long time to do, which is a mistake that I've talked about before, is that you've got to get out, join a club, find a bar that you can call your own, and things like that. It's just really about being outgoing. This next one comes from Mustard Blue, aka Just in Canada, aka Man in Japan. Hey Chuckles, do you like to jam to podcasts? Which one? Yeah, I'm a big fan of podcasts. It varies really. I used to be really into like Marin and you're really into Marin, because my favorite conversations are the ones where people are talking to artists and they find their way to some pretentious truth that seems really always profound to me. So but right now I'm really into Nerdist for that very reason, because I'm beginning to talk to artists. I love This American Life. I listen to it when I'm running a lot of times, particularly on long runs, because they're about stories, and those are the ones that I like the most. Just getting to hear people's stories and those are also really, really good for getting story ideas for writing. So those are the couple that I'm really, really into. There are a couple writing podcasts I listen to, like the Nerdist Writer Circle or whatever it's called. Tiny Sense of Accomplishment I listened to when it was more regular. Dead Robot Society, Paper Wings I listened to. Many, many, many different things like that. But they all sort of center around either creative people or stories about just ordinary people. Those are the ones that I really get into when I'm just trying to put something in my ears while I'm doing something else. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, guys, what podcasts you recommend. Justin, I'd love to hear from you, of course. Another one from Oren, will you visit me in Nagano? Yes, I will, because I love Nagano. This one from Simon Haggerty, who's always been so supportive of the channel. Thank you. What is your favorite mode of transportation over there, or least favorite? My favorite is the trains. I love just being able to chill and watch the scenery or read a book or listen to music and just kind of hang out. My least favorite is car. It's boring and expensive and very boring. So yeah, definitely the trains. This one from Granny, also very, very supportive guy, coming to us from France, I believe. What's the last 5 books you read? Were they good? What's the story? Let's come back to that one. This one from Christina B. Christina, who we got to meet when we did the Cards Against Humanity live stream a couple weeks ago. How long have you been living in Japan, and how long do you plan on staying? Do you enjoy living there? The answer to this question sort of varies from day to day. I always enjoy it. Of course, as with any place you live, there are things that you dislike, particularly the fact that people don't use turning signals and try and kill pedestrians every single day, seemingly. As for how long I plan on staying, I don't know. Some days I feel like I could stay here forever. Other days I feel like maybe it's time for me to go to Thailand or go wolf in Norway for a couple months. But yeah, I don't know. Long story. Right now the plan is to be here for a couple more years. Probably in a academic capacity from next year. And another question from her: when did you start writing, and what is my main genre? What is your main genre? Started writing when I was 14, I guess. My main genre at the time was Star Wars fan fiction. Now is historical fiction / travel log, long-form travel log stuff, travel writing. I'm hoping that very, very soon you guys will be able to see some of that once I get the nerve and feel like confident enough with the edits I've done to put that stuff live so you can actually read it. What's the best conversation you ever had with someone in Japanese? This one comes to us from Gajillionaire, who, by the way, makes some really, really well done documentaries on video games. Check out his channel. Really, the production quality is amazing. So yeah, what's the best conversation you ever had with someone in Japanese? My friend Daisuke, who I met when I was in college. I don't remember the details of it, but we were sitting at the school, on the school grounds after class, and just sort of, this is when George W. Bush was in the office, and we just had like this really sort of profound meeting of the minds that we didn't want to see a world where everybody hated each other and there was like a security state over everything. Sadly, I think that has come to pass in varying degrees, but it was really profound, and it was the first time that I realized that I could make really long-lasting friendships here, and I think probably that had a lot to do with my decision to come back. So that was really, really important for me. So I think that's all of the questions, except for Granny's, which we'll go back to. What's the last 5 books you've read? Were they good? What's the story? I just finished rereading, what's it called? The first thing I just finished rereading was Crafting the Personal Essay. This is by Dinty W. Moore, who has an awesome name. It's talking about basically writing creative nonfiction. It's basically how to write better essays, better personal essays about travel, about music, about really, really anything you can think of. The second one that I read recently, I'm trying to think the last 5. I reread The Hobbit, which I'm sure you probably know the story of that. There's a really short dude who's got to go steal a thing, and monsters and other short people. And oh man, The Hobbit, Crafting the Personal Essay. It just occurs to me that I'm on my tablet, so I can actually see this. I read The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, which I was a big fan of. Japan, 1941 by Eri Hota, which was basically everything that sort of led up to World War II, Japan's involvement in World War II, and some of the history surrounding that. Really, really fascinating stuff. Before that, I read Oryx and Crake, so that's 4. Oryx and Crake is like a post-apocalyptic story about this guy who unwittingly finds himself at the center of like basically man-made genetic apocalypse. Really, really interesting. And just recently I reread Bill Bryson's A Walk in the Woods because I'm getting ready for a big hike, and it's always good to psych yourself up for an adventure. If you'd like to know what I'm reading now, I'm reading The Wolf Border by Sarah Hall, who is an independent writer, and it's just a story. I don't know that much about it yet because I'm not that far in, but it's about this woman who works in, this British woman who works in America, trying to basically devilify wolves, right? This sort of like apex predator, and sort of reintroduce them to different spots where they once lived and things like that. And yeah, that's what I'm reading recently. So very good question, and I always enjoy talking about what I'm reading, but I can't go too far into it because I don't want this to be an hour-long video. So thanks, guys, for all the questions. Really, really fun. I always like being able to talk about myself because I have a giant ego. But yeah, thanks for all the questions. I'm glad there was some interest in it. I want to do one of these again. If you have anything to say in response to the questions I answered, of course, let me know down in the comments. If you have questions you want me to answer next time, of course, let me know down in the comments, or you can always, again, tag it in with Hey Chuckles on Facebook or on Twitter. And yeah, thanks always for watching. Please like and share this video if you did in fact like it. And we'll see you all very soon indeed. Cheers.